In the days following James's disappearance, Emily was consumed by fear and confusion. She couldn't leave the house. Every attempt was met with locked doors and jammed windows. The house had trapped her, just as it had taken James. Desperate for answers, Emily began searching through the old belongings left behind by the Montgomery family. The journal described how Eleanor, desperate to save her family from a mysterious illness, had turned to forbidden practices. But instead of saving them, she doomed them all, trapping their souls within the house. The more Emily read, the clearer it became James was still in the house, but no longer himself. Emily knew she had to find James and break the curse before it was too late. With renewed determination, she prepared to confront the darkness that lurked within Elmwood House. Armed with only a fading hope, Emily descended into the basement once more, ready to face whatever awaited her. The corridor behind the hidden door was darker than she remembered, the air thick with the weight of centuries-old secrets. Her heart pounded as she followed the faint glow of the strange symbols that lined the walls, guiding her deeper into the house's heart. Suddenly she saw someone, a woman standing in front of her. She tried to call out to her, but she didn't answer. As she came closer, Emily stood up and ran back to another location in the basement. At the end of the corridor, Emily found herself in a large circular chamber. The walls were lined with mirrors, each one reflecting a different time and place within the house. In the center of the room stood an altar, upon which lay a single, flickering candle. And there, standing in the shadows, was James, or what used to be James. James's eyes were hollow, his face gaunt and twisted by the curse. He spoke in a voice that wasn't entirely his own, warning Emily to leave while she still could. But Emily knew she couldn't leave, not without freeing him and breaking the curse that held them both. As she approached the altar, the journal's pages began to turn on their own, stopping on a ritual of binding and release. Emily realized this was the key to freeing James and the others, but the ritual required a sacrifice, a willing soul to take their place. Emily was faced with an impossible choice: sacrifice herself to save James or leave him to suffer for eternity. But as she looked into James's eyes, she knew what she had to do. She began the ritual, her voice steady despite the terror clawing at her heart. As the ritual progressed, the chamber began to shake, the mirrors shattering one by one, releasing the trapped souls within. James screamed, a final plea for Emily to stop, but it was too late. With a final incantation, Emily completed the ritual, her body consumed by a blinding light. When the blinding light faded, the basement was silent, save for the soft crackling of the dying candle. Emily lay on the floor, drained and weak, but alive. The mirrors were shattered, their shards scattered across the chamber, and the air felt lighter, as if the weight of centuries had been lifted. But James was nowhere to be seen. With trembling hands, Emily pushed herself up and searched the room for any sign of James. The journal lay open on the altar, its pages blank, as if the ritual had erased its dark secrets. Just as despair began to take hold, she heard a faint whisper, James's voice, calling her name. Following the voice, Emily stumbled through the shattered mirrors and debris, her heart pounding in her chest. The voice grew stronger, leading her back to the entrance of the chamber. And there, standing in the doorway, was James, whole and unharmed, his eyes clear and filled with warmth. James rushed to her, pulling her into a tight embrace. The curse was broken, and the spirits that had haunted the house for so long were finally at peace. Together they left the basement, emerging into the bright morning light outside the house. As they walked away, hand in hand, the door to Elmwood House slowly closed behind them, sealing its secrets forever. But as they disappeared into the distance, a single, faint whisper echoed from within the house. A whisper that promised Elmwood House would never truly be free of its past.